Less stuff, more peace. Decluttering and downsizing for seniors. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the sheer amount of stuff in your home, you're not alone. Right now, there are millions of women over 65 who wake up each morning feeling anxious about their belongings instead of at peace in their own space. What if I told you that in the next 20 minutes, you'll discover a proven system that transforms that overwhelming clutter into a sanctuary of calm, without the guilt, without the stress, and without losing the memories that matter most? I'm about to share the exact decluttering method that's helped thousands of women just like you reclaim not just their homes, but their peace of mind. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be ruthless, you don't need to throw away everything, and you certainly don't need to feel guilty about the process. Before we dive in, if you've been struggling with clutter and you're ready for real change, please hit that like button right now. It tells me you're serious about creating more peace in your life. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because I share practical tips for intentional living every single week. Let's start with something I want you to know deep in your heart. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you for having accumulated things over the years. You've lived a full life, you've built a home, you've raised a family, and you've created memories. Every single item in your home has a story, and honoring that story is part of this journey. But here's what I also know, and maybe you're feeling this too. Sometimes our belongings start to feel like they own us instead of the other way around. Maybe you've noticed that cleaning takes longer than it used to. Maybe you've started avoiding certain rooms. Maybe you've even stopped inviting people over because you're embarrassed about the clutter. These feelings are completely normal and completely valid. What's not normal is living with the constant stress that comes from being surrounded by too much stuff. Today, we're going to change that together. What we're going to explore today isn't about minimalism for the sake of having less, it's about maximalism for the sake of having more. More peace, more joy, more space to breathe, more time for the activities and people you love, and more energy to enjoy this beautiful phase of your life. The emotional foundation. Before we talk about any practical steps, we need to address the emotional side of decluttering, because this is where most people get stuck. And women especially, we're often the keepers of family memories, the ones who hold on to things just in case, the ones who feel responsible for preserving everything. Let me give you permission right now to release some of that responsibility. You are not required to keep every school project, every piece of inherited furniture, or every gift you've ever received. Your worth as a mother, grandmother, daughter, or friend is not measured by how much you've saved or preserved. Here's a liberating truth. The memories live in your heart, not in your closets. The love you've shared exists in relationships, not in boxes. The life you've built is reflected in the person you've become, not in the stuff you've accumulated. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to be careless with meaningful items. What it means is that we're going to be intentional about distinguishing between what truly serves your life now and what's simply taking up space. I want you to think about this process as creating a love letter to your future self. Every decision you make, every item you choose to keep or let go, is a gift to the woman you're becoming. You're creating space for new experiences, new hobbies, new relationships, and new chapters of your life. With that foundation in place, let's talk about the practical magic of decluttering, starting with understanding why this matters so much at this stage of life. Why decluttering matters more now. There's something unique about this phase of life that makes decluttering not just helpful, but essential. You're likely experiencing changes, maybe physical changes that make maintaining a large home more challenging, maybe life changes like retirement or becoming a grandmother, or maybe emotional changes as you reflect on what truly matters. Let's be honest about the practical realities. First, cleaning and organizing become more physically demanding as we age. Every item in your home requires care, attention, and energy. When you reduce the number of items, you reduce the amount of work required to maintain your space. Second, many of you are considering or will consider downsizing at some point, whether that's moving to a smaller home, a retirement community, or simply making your current space more manageable. Starting this process now gives you control over your timeline and your decisions. Third, and this is crucial, clutter creates mental clutter. Studies show that people living in cluttered environments have higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. When you clear your space, you literally clear your mind. But here's the most beautiful reason to declutter now. You're at a point in your life where you have the wisdom to know what truly matters. You've lived enough to understand the difference between what you need and what you think you need. You have the perspective that comes with experience. This isn't about deprivation, it's about curation. You're not getting rid of things randomly, you're carefully selecting what deserves space in your life. You're becoming the curator of your own beautiful existence. The Piece First Decluttering Method. Now, let me introduce you to what I call the Piece First Decluttering Method. This isn't about making rapid decisions or working through your entire house in a weekend. This is about creating sustainable change that feels good every step of the way. The method has 5 phases, and I want you to remember this acronym, PEACE, P-E-A-C. Pause, evaluate, assign, create, and enjoy. Phase 1, pause. Before you touch a single item, you're going to spend time in each room just observing. Sit down, look around, and notice how the space makes you feel. Do you feel calm or anxious, energized or drained, peaceful or overwhelmed? This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. You're gathering information about which spaces in your home are working for you and which aren't. Write down your observations. Which rooms do you avoid? Which areas make you feel happiest? This information will guide your entire process. Phase 2, evaluate. Now you're going to assess each item based on 3 simple questions. Does this add value to my life today? Does this align with who I am now? Does this support the life I want to live going forward? Notice that all these questions are about now and the future, not about the past. The china set you received as a wedding gift 40 years ago might have been perfect then, but if you never use it now and it's taking up valuable cabinet space, it's not serving your present life. Phase 3, assign. This is where you'll categorize items into 5 groups: keep and love, keep but relocate, donate, sell, or trash. Notice that keep and love comes first. We're honoring the things that truly belong in your life. Items in keep and love are things that serve a purpose, bring you joy, or hold deep meaning. Keep but relocate are useful items that aren't in the right place. Donate are good items that could serve someone else better. Sell are valuable items you no longer need. And trash are items that have truly served their purpose. Phase 4, create. Now you're going to create systems that work for your life. This means finding homes for everything you're keeping, setting up storage solutions that make sense, and creating routines that prevent future clutter. The key here is to think about your daily patterns. Where do you naturally set down your keys? Where do you prefer to pay bills? Where do you like to read? Your organization systems should work with your natural habits, not against them. Phase 5, enjoy. This is the phase most people skip, but it's absolutely crucial. You need to take time to appreciate what you've created. Sit in your newly organized space. Notice how it feels. Acknowledge the work you've done. This isn't vanity, it's reinforcement. When you take time to enjoy your progress, you're training your brain to associate decluttering with positive feelings. This makes it more likely that you'll maintain your new systems and continue making progress. Room-by-room strategies. Now, let's get specific about how to apply this method in different areas of your home. Each room has its own challenges and opportunities, so let's walk through the main areas together. Let's start with the bedroom, because this is your sanctuary. This should be the most peaceful room in your home. Look around your bedroom right now. Does it feel like a retreat, or does it feel like a storage unit with a bed in it? For the bedroom, focus on creating clear surfaces. Your nightstand should hold only what you use daily, maybe a lamp, a book, a glass of water, and perhaps a small dish for jewelry. Everything else can find a home in drawers or be eliminated entirely. Your closet deserves special attention. You know that feeling when you open your closet and feel overwhelmed by choices, but somehow have nothing to wear? That's what happens when we keep clothes that don't fit our current life, our current body, or our current style. Try this exercise. For 1 month, hang all your clothes with the hangers facing backward. When you wear something, turn the hanger forward. After a month, you'll have a clear picture of what you actually wear versus what you think you wear. Moving to the kitchen. This is often where we accumulate the most items because we tell ourselves everything might be useful someday. But here's the truth. A kitchen that's overstuffed is a kitchen that's underused. Focus on keeping appliances that you use at least monthly. That bread maker you used twice in 2019, it's time to let it go. Those specialty gadgets that seemed essential but now sit in drawers, they're creating clutter, not convenience. For kitchen cabinets, group similar items together and keep frequently used items at eye level. Put seasonal items or rarely used serving pieces on higher shelves. And here's a game changer. If you haven't used something in a year, take a photo of it and put it in a box. If you don't need it in the next 6 months, you can confidently let it go. The living room is where we gather and relax, so it should feel welcoming, not overwhelming. Look at your surfaces, coffee tables, side tables, mantels. Are they covered with items, or do they have space to breathe? Aim to keep only 2 to 3 items on each surface. Maybe a lamp, a plant, and a small decorative object. Everything else can be stored in drawers, cabinets, or simply eliminated. This creates visual calm and makes cleaning much easier. For sentimental items in common areas, choose your favorites and display them beautifully rather than displaying everything. A few meaningful pieces that are well presented have much more impact than many pieces that are crowded together. Bathrooms are often overlooked in decluttering, but they're perfect places to practice letting go. Check expiration dates on medications and cosmetics. Using expired products isn't just ineffective, it can be harmful. Keep only products you use regularly on countertops. Store backup items in cabinets or drawers. And be honest about those skincare products and makeup items. If you haven't used them in 6 months, you probably won't. Finally, let's talk about paper and office spaces. If you're like most people, you have stacks of papers that have been growing for years. Here's your new rule. Touch paper only once. When you pick up a piece of paper, decide immediately whether to act on it, file it, or throw it away. Create a simple filing system with broad categories: medical, financial, legal, and reference. Everything else gets handled immediately or discarded. Stop keeping instruction manuals for appliances you no longer own, warranties for items you purchased years ago, and magazines you thought you'd read someday. Dealing with emotional attachments. Now, let's address what might be the most challenging part of this process: dealing with items that have emotional attachments. This is where many people get stuck, and it's completely understandable. First, let me validate your feelings. It's natural to attach emotions to objects, especially when those objects represent people we love, phases of our life we miss, or dreams we once had. These feelings are real and they matter. But here's a gentle reframe. Keeping something out of guilt, obligation, or fear is not honoring it, it's diminishing it. When you keep items that you don't love or use, you're not preserving memories, you're creating stagnation. Let's talk specifically about inherited items. Maybe you have your mother's china that you never use, or your father's tools that you don't know how to use. Keeping these items doesn't make you a good daughter or honor their memory any more than letting them go makes you ungrateful. Consider this. Would your mother want you to stress over storing her china? Or would she want you to have a peaceful, organized home? Would your father want his tools to gather dust? Or would he want them to be useful to someone who needs them? Here are some practical strategies for dealing with sentimental items. First, take photos of items before you donate them. You're preserving the memory without preserving the clutter. Second, keep one representative item instead of everything. Keep your mother's favorite teacup instead of the entire china set. Keep your father's favorite hammer instead of the entire tool collection. Try the 1-year rule for difficult decisions. Box up questionable items and put a date on the box. If you haven't needed or thought about anything in that box after a year, you can confidently let it go without even looking inside. For those of you holding on to your children's or grandchildren's items, remember that your adult children have their own homes and their own aesthetic preferences. That room full of their childhood belongings might feel like love to you, but it might feel like pressure to them. Have honest conversations with family members about what they actually want. You might be surprised to learn that they don't want most of what you've been saving for them. This isn't a reflection of their love for you. It's a reflection of their need to create their own homes in their own style. Here's something beautiful to consider. When you let go of items that no longer serve you, you're creating space for new experiences, new relationships, and new chapters of your life. You're not closing doors on the past. You're opening doors to the future. Creating sustainable systems. Once you've decluttered, the key to maintaining your peace is creating systems that prevent clutter from returning. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Let's start with the 1-in, 1-out rule. When you bring something new into your home, something else needs to leave. This doesn't have to be exact. Maybe you bring in a new book and donate 2 old ones. The point is to maintain awareness of what's coming into your space. Daily habits. Develop simple daily habits that prevent clutter from accumulating. Spend 10 minutes each evening putting things back in their designated homes. Make your bed every morning. It sets a tone of order for the entire day. Handle mail immediately rather than letting it pile up. Weekly maintenance. Create a weekly maintenance routine. Maybe every Sunday you do a quick walkthrough of your home, returning items to their proper places and noting any areas that need attention. This prevents small problems from becoming big ones. Seasonal reviews. Schedule seasonal reviews of your belongings. Every 3 months, do a quick assessment of your closet, kitchen, and main living areas. Are there items you haven't used? Are there areas that have become cluttered again? This keeps you connected to your belongings and prevents accumulation. The 20-minute rule. Use the 20-minute rule for maintenance. Set a timer for 20 minutes and focus on one area that needs attention. You'll be amazed at how much you can accomplish in 20 minutes when you're focused. And if you don't finish, you can always set another timer tomorrow. Mindful acquisition habits. Before buying something new, ask yourself, where will this live in my home? What will I get rid of to make room for this? Do I need this, or do I just want it? Will this add value to my life, or will it just add clutter? The 24-hour rule. For non-essential purchases, try the 24-hour rule. If you see something you want to buy, wait 24 hours before purchasing. Often, you'll realize you don't need it as much as you thought you did. Dealing with resistance and setbacks. Let's be honest about something. There will be days when you don't want to declutter. There will be times when you feel overwhelmed by the process. There will be moments when you question whether this is worth it. This is completely normal. Decluttering isn't a straight line from cluttered to organized. It's a process with ups and downs, good days and challenging days. The key is to be gentle with yourself and to remember that progress isn't always visible. When you feel overwhelmed, make your focus smaller. Instead of tackling an entire room, focus on a single drawer. Instead of organizing your entire closet, focus on one category, like shoes or scarves. Small progress is still progress. You might face resistance from family members who don't understand why you're changing things. They might worry that you're getting rid of things they care about, or they might feel uncomfortable with change. Include them in the process when possible, and reassure them that you're not getting rid of anything that's truly important to them. Don't fall into the perfectionism trap. Your home doesn't need to look like a magazine spread. It needs to work for your life. Some days will be more organized than others, and that's perfectly fine. Celebrate small victories. When you organize a drawer, acknowledge that accomplishment. When you donate a bag of items, feel proud of that decision. When you spend a peaceful evening in your decluttered living room, notice how good it feels. If you have setbacks, and you will, don't use them as evidence that the process doesn't work. Use them as information about what you need to adjust. Maybe you need to maintain your systems more frequently, or maybe you need to involve family members differently. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, what's the one area of your home that you're most excited to declutter? Is it a closet that's been overwhelming you? A kitchen cabinet that's stuffed too full? A room that you've been avoiding? And here's what I'd love for you to do. Share your before and after photos with us. Not because we're judging your starting point, but because we're celebrating your progress. This community is here to support each other, and seeing your transformations inspires others to start their own journey. If this video has been helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I share new videos every week about intentional living, home organization, and creating peace in your daily life. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a new video. If you know someone who might benefit from this approach to decluttering, maybe a friend who's been feeling overwhelmed by her belongings, or a family member who's considering downsizing, please share this video with them. Sometimes we all need a gentle push to get started. As we wrap up, I want you to remember something important. This process is about so much more than organizing your belongings. It's about creating space for the life you want to live. It's about reducing stress and increasing peace. It's about honoring your present self rather than clinging to your past selves. You're at a beautiful point in your life where you have the wisdom to know what truly matters and the freedom to create a home that reflects your values. You don't need to keep things out of obligation or guilt. You don't need to maintain spaces that don't serve you. You have permission to create a home that supports your well-being and brings you joy. Start small. Be patient with yourself, and remember that this is a journey, not a destination. You don't have to transform your entire home overnight. You just have to make one small, intentional decision at a time. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'm honored to be part of your journey toward a more peaceful, intentional life. Remember, less stuff, more peace. It's not just possible, it's your birthright. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week with more tips for creating the life you love. Until then, be gentle with yourself and celebrate every small step forward.